Gerald, thank you. We have our next question from Jess. Jess, if you'd go ahead and unmute your mic. Thank you.
Yes, hi, thank you. Thank you for one of the most brilliant lectures I've ever heard. I'm recovering from detrimental side effects from opioids, including oxycodone, steroids, oral and injected, and radiation, injected and CT scans. And these were prescribed by Western medicine MDs. And the side effects include exhaustion, brain fog, dizziness, stomach cramps. Three quick questions, if I may. A, is it possible to detox from these pharmaceuticals? B, have you ever heard of anyone detoxing from these pharmaceuticals? And C, if so, what do you recommend to detox from these pharmaceuticals, in addition to stop taking them?
Yeah. Well, Jess, sorry to hear that you have been through a battery of some of the hardest things in Western medicine, without a doubt. I don't know the specifics of what can be used for detoxing, but I do know that there are an assortment of recommendations in natural and homeopathic medications to detox from everything from general anesthesia to, as you say, opioids to radiation exposure. And some of the presenters, as a matter of fact, in this conference may have specific information about that. And I want to say one thing, Jess. You're saying, I think, is critically important. If you've been through a process as you have been, in which you've been subjected to this input of radiation, steroids, and then to the Oxycontin withdrawal, your body's gone through multiple levels of having to adapt to each. And Western medicine, especially the American drug industry, they focus on one issue at a time to the detriment of everything else happening in your body. So if you go to a doctor and you have hypertension, high blood pressure, and they prescribe for you a pill to keep that blood pressure under control, they're not taking into effect most of the time any other pill you might be on, what your natural regimen is, vitamins you're taking, supplements, what you're doing in terms of your own exercise in life. And so the side effects from that pill may be one thing in a clinical lab and in a clinical trial. It may be quite different when combined with other things that are going on in your life. And so I think that these things can have a synergistic effect that couple together to really set you back, as you say, in terms of brain fogginess and everything else. And therefore, it really takes a naturopath to be able to go over what's happened to you and what else is happening in your current life to say, these are the things I think are best for detoxing. Now, that being said, one last thing. I'm a believer in complementary medicine. So I think Western medicine and pharmaceutical companies and some of the drugs that come out have very important things. If I have an infection, a bacterial infection, if I'm suffering from something that can be treated by medicine, I'm going to have it taken care of. But if I also can find something through complementary medicine, I will work with that as well. And I think that nobody should fool themselves to think that big pharma only competes with itself, meaning that Pfizer only competes with Moderna and Moderna only competes with Eli Lilly. They also are competing against alternative ways to be healthy. They're competing against the vitamin and supplement industry. They're competing against naturopaths. They're competing against osteopaths. They're competing against chiropractors, in essence, because all of those are potential competition for taking patients away from the need for pills. And so the extent that it takes people away from the need for pills, it becomes, I think, a competitive force against it. And that's where the information, the billions and billions of dollars spent on direct-to-consumer ads that were approved since '97 have such an effect on the way people think. So I don't have an answer specifically for you, unfortunately, in what could be done for detoxing, but I have little doubt that with a little research or checking with people here at this conference, that you will find some things to get you back on the road to feeling better. And I hope that happens in very fast order for you.
Gerald, thank you so much. This has been truly remarkable and, again, very eye-opening. The comments have shown how much people have been appreciating everything you've done and the way you've communicated it today. I think that looks like that's it on questions at this point. So with that, before we let you go, is there anything else that you wanted to share that we haven't covered?
No, all I want to say is to everybody, and I'm sure that I'm speaking to the singing to the choir here, just be informed consumers. Know what you're getting. If you go to a doctor and they prescribe a pill to you, Ask them why they are prescribing that pill, why that specific pill. What is it in terms of the clinical studies that show that it's effective and worthwhile, not what some drug rep told them. And find out, by the way, if you have the courage to ask it. You can check it online, but it's difficult to find. Find out if that doctor receives any funding from that pharmaceutical company, if they've done studies for that pharmaceutical company, if they've written articles in a clinical a medical journal for that pharmaceutical company about that drug. You don't want to take a drug from somebody who's shilling for it. You don't want to take a drug for somebody who's paid to promote that drug. You want to take a drug if you have to take it for a condition because the doctor is honestly looking at the available information and has made a decision that that drug is the best choice for you temporarily for whatever condition you have. So be an aggressive consumer. Remember, they're the physician. They're serving you. You're the consumer and the patient. You get to ask every question you can about your health. And one thing I've learned from the pharmaceutical industry, you can't ask too many.